Hi everyone, welcome to the Digital Fintech Show. My name is Samir Singh Jaini and I'm part of the Digital Fib team. Today we have with us Rajendra Awasthi, who is the co-founder of EPIKInDiFi, one of the fastest growing lending and collection platform in the country. He's a dear friend and I know his journey in last 4 years. I think me and him almost started at the same point in time. I'm so happy with what he has achieved in the last few years, not just in India, but outside as well. So I think this is one of the first Indian startup which has actually started from more business from Australia and then entered into Indian business as well. Thanks, Raja, for joining us. So I think really want to know more about your company, what you do, and given your context of working in India as well as in Australia, I think it'll be good for us to understand the context of whatever business you are in.
Thanks, Amir, for taking your time and speaking with me. So let me just give a context of what we are doing in Epic in last few years since the time we started our journey. So entire focus of Epic is doing everything which is digital, everything which is automated, everything which is in the modern technology, and everything which is driven by analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Now, which are the areas which we are working on? We are working on the areas starting from the onboarding, origination, underwriting, and then we are working on the areas of the collection. So if you look, if I leave a center piece of loan management part or accounting part, we are actually having systems or build system which is called the cradle to grave. So that's all we are doing in our journey in Epic, Samir.
Okay. And I think you have interesting part about you have been on the banking side as well, including a PSU, an old world guy, a bank, as well as new world as well. So you have worked with Infosys. You've also set up your own company. Now in this journey, I think you've understood collection from multiple perspectives. So it'll be good for us to understand as a banker how you thought about collections and how you thinking about it, and how are you moving from such a non-glamorous job to make it more digitally more applicable and make the life of the guy on board, all both on call on physical much better, right? So it would be great to understand collection as general. What's your approach and thought?
So you are taking me back to the time when I was a banker way back, right? So banking at that time, and I think banking now has not changed much. So if I had to break down the banking in three broad verticals or silos, there is a place where from the lending perspective and the loan get originated and given, and the loan has a life cycle where the repayments are happening, and any place where the loan is not getting paid, that gets into the collection, right? And the collection itself is then broken down in two bits. One is a regular collection, and one is when it goes to the NP. So that is how the whole life cycle gets broken. अब होता क्या है? What happens between when people are doing the origination or giving loan versus the people who are collecting a loan, right? There's a fundamental difference, and this I'm going back to my days as a banker. So everybody at that time in IDBI, there used to be two departments. One is called PFD, Project Finance, and one is called RFD, which is a recollection. Nobody wants to go to RFD. Everybody wants to go to PFD because it's a human psychology, right? Everybody is happy giving the loan. Arey saab, kitna chahiye aapko, very happy. Nobody is ready to have a good, tough conversation saying that, your money is due, when are you going to pay, and things like that, right? And that time, now it is IBC, at that time it used to be BIFR, right? So if you get a posting in RFD, your life is all linked to the BIFR hearing and all. Whereas here in the pre-sanction and the collection, you are, Ambanis are coming or Amitabh Bachchan is coming for signing the loan agreements. It's so exciting. So what I realize is that from that time to now, the collection is a very non-glamorous piece in the banking space, whereas the other part is a very glamorous space, right? Then what happens because of this in the bank or as a part of the strategy? Usually the collection is given out to collection agencies or, kind of outsourced, and say, okay, go and collect and do whatever you want to do. Now, what is the impact of it? There are, based on my personal experience, I just want to share. There are 2-3 impact of it. When you, when you give out the collection to the third party, outsource it, They do not have that kind of customer empathy. Probably you as a banker, you will have with your customer, right? They are like kind of mercenaries. They just want to collect, because what they collect is the percentage they will get as an income for them. So that is a one problem, whether there should be a empathy or not. Second problem is that they treat every customer same. Those guys, they do not differentiate between the customer to customer. That's the second problem of it. Third problem it is that the data which is sitting in the bank's data and the collection agency, they are not integrated. So while my personal experience, one time I have paid the money, but these collection guys are still chasing, saying that you have not paid. I said, I paid 3 days back. They're saying, okay, give me when did you pay, how much you paid, what mode you paid. I said, what about your system? They said, no, don't worry about system. You tell us, right? So these are the problems which is there in the collection. That's where I think there is a lot of space to improvement moving forward.
I think this is phenomenal. I think personally, I mean, when I started working with fintechs, some of them took it really, really carefully, saying that collection is my business strategy as well. For example, they would give more loans initially, look at the collection and NPA challenges, and then build a strategy around that. So I think very different world from where you were talking about. I think this is the change which I think banks are also adopting right now. So it moves us to the first question from my side, right? How is the collection space evolving from a digital perspective, right? What are changes happening? COVID also been there, so and digital products also there for collection. So what are the changes which is happening in the market around collections, and how you think that market will change in next few years?
So I think COVID has brought in a very what do you say a paradigm thought shift in the entire collection space, and in the sense that this is something which is not seen in our life. This is like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, right? What all has happened in COVID? COVID has actually, from the bank's perspective and collection perspective, was a double whammy.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it a double whammy? That one side, the customers are not able to pay, or customer, even if they are in a position to pay, they want to hold the cash, right? That is a significant of chunk of customer who are normally regular paying customer. They are getting into the collection, right? Collection queue, they are coming. Second thing, what happening is for the bank is they will know which segment of the customer which will go for the collection. They have not realized that there is another bunch which has come in. So they don't know about their behavior, their pattern, because they are all good paying customer. They have just got, because of COVID, they have got into that. So that is one dimension of the problem. Second dimension of the problem was, in the what has COVID has brought in, that all the system, like I was explaining, right? Collection is just, when it comes to the collection, give it to somebody else. It's not my problem, right? All the systems are very archaic. They were like old time, take out the Excel file or some dump or some, you just give it there, right? So this, and third problem happened because of COVID, because most of the people have to go and work from home. Collection agents cannot go on street, right? In a situation like India, collection street agents are not on street to go and collect. This is like a complete, it has brought a different paradigm to the whole thing, right? That made people to think that is there a different way of doing collection pre-COVID and post-COVID. That's where I think the digital collection is coming into picture. What is digital collection doing? In a very simple terms, digital collection is making bankers to realize that collection is not entirely somebody else's baby. It is their responsibility also. What does it mean? With the technology available, it means that they can actually use the technology to start doing analytics of data which is sitting with them. Start doing a predictive behavior that, what are the customer behavior will be and where the payment will come. They start looking for alternate collection channel. For example, we had conversation last year with some of the fintechs and including a bank. When the lockdown was there, is there a way that we derive a quick model where the collection can happen through kirana stores, for example? क्योंकि agent तो जा नहीं पा रहा है field में, right? But kirana stores are open. So can kirana store, that customer can pay via kirana store and still money can come in? So that made people to think that there is a not a normal way, there are other way of doing it. So that is what I think the pandemic has brought in terms of the digitization of the collection process and making it more automated and more analytics driven.
This is interesting, right? I think a lot of changes we are also seeing very visible in the market. Collection is no longer the sidekick, right? It's the main armory of many of them to sort of control the framework and also progress as well. So I think the reaction of various industries is also different, right? I mean, COVID has changed that logic. Now, my belief is that going forward, whatever the ecosystem impacts are, they may impact the market very differently over a period of time. So it is useful to have quick collection data and figure out what the strategy is. So I think with this framework, I just want to know what is the relationship you see of collection and sales and underwriting. What is the correlation do you see, and how do banks and maybe even fintechs leverage that and improve their sales cycles and collection sales and underwriting cycle as well? Rather than today, I think in the old world, or maybe recently, as I've met people who build a model now and deploy it for 1 year, that underwriting model or collection model, the credit model now, and sort of use it for 1 year and use it, give it to third party to do it, and never use the real data which is coming now. And they collect over a period of time, go back. So I think this phenomena is not going to work. So maybe a quick insight from your side will be useful for us to understand how to correlate these two.
Okay, so I think the important thing is, as they say, two hypotheses if I connect, right? The first hypothesis is data is the new oil or new gold, right? And everybody's sitting with tons of data. How to use it, I think, is the primary thing. Second thing is the brakes are the best accelerators, right? Anybody who watches Formula One will know the car which has the best brakes will actually come into the turn and get out very quickly, right? So if I mix these two philosophy, what do I get out of it? Of what you're asking, right? The entire focus earlier was on the customer behavior in the front. What is his income? What is his background? What is his qualification? Ghar hai ki nahi hai, married hai ki nahi hai, those kind of things. So the whole focus on underwriting was driven there. Look at it, what is actually the data or the analytics which is sitting here with, say, a bank of a customer who is with them for very long time. They can actually have a very long, entire analytic behavior, and then they can make a model out of it, right? So this is the model. The focus has to actually shift for underwriting from focusing on the income or salary or which company working to how you have paid, how much you have paid, when you have not paid. It has to change there. And if you derive the models here, like you are saying, fintechs have started doing it. If you derive models here and then you put it in underwriting, your chances of your getting a good asset, good loan, good quality is way higher than just focusing on those normal underwriting, parameters. So, in my view, this is where the data or the gold is sitting. Who is going to mine? How they are going to mine? How soon they are going to mine? Which form and shape they are going to mine, and how they are going to refine it is actually going to determine a lot on the entire Indian lending space as well as globally, because this whole thing is emerging very fast.
No, I think I agree with you. I think a lot of times I've met people saying that I don't have data, so it's grass is greener on our sides, other side, saying that okay, can I get data from this side, that side, and what they have already of their own customer base. I think that's where the gold is. But वो क्या है ना चिराग तले अंधेरा, right? Get where we but
घर की घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर.
and I was talking to one of my client, and I was telling that you already have the data. How can you give pre-approved loans to these customers rather than figuring out new customer set? And I think it was from their perspective, it's completely new thought saying, how can we do it? We don't have enough data. But the fact is that for a new to bank customer, they any which way do it, right? It's just that you don't look at the pool of customers you already have and look at what maybe HDFC and IC have done with the same data. But anyway, going on to the next area, I think you spoke about collection in general. You spoke about what is the correlation between collection as well as the underwriting as well as the sales framework as well. Now, you have yourself built your own platform, right? It will be useful for us to understand what Collect Easy does and what exactly is the traction you see in the markets. What exactly does it do?
So before I talk about the the Collect Easy per se and what does it do, let me give one more perspective. Let's just talk about few numbers. What is the gross asset of, say, Indian public sector bank in India, right? It's about 107 lakh crores as on March 2021. 107 lakh crores is the asset size of public sector bank. What is the NPA percentage? Or in gross NPA, it's about 6.2 lakh crores, about roughly about 6%, right? If 6% is NPA, which is past 180 days due, that means there is another set which is between 0 to 180.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Which is another maybe 15% if you take roughly, right? So we're talking about 20%. This is what is the number will be in the banking perspective, right? Now you look at it that the whole thing getting outsourced versus it is done in a different strategy. Just the numbers I'm putting, right? Now, if you take 10%, assume that 6% is NPA, which is beyond 180. You take another out of 15%, another 5%, which is beyond 90. We're talking about 0 to 90, which is a quick turnaround. Let's take about 10% or 8%. 8% of 107 lakh crore. We are talking about what? About 8 lakh crores, right? That's what we are talking about, right? And average commission of outsourcing them is about anything between 25, 30, 40%, right? That's the range on the collected amount. What is the amount we're talking about? We're talking about roughly about 3 lakh crores being given by the banks to the third-party agencies. Now, if we put this perspective, right? If you have a system which gives you ability, so to a bank, if I have to say, a system which gives you ability to run majority of your collection in-house, part outsourced, right? If you do a mix of it, you will end up saving 2 lakh crores.
Okay.
It's a very different perspective, the thing, but that's a perspective that much money is going from banks' books to somewhere else can we still be saved. Okay. That is where I think our system comes into the picture. So normal collection system, the old time collection system is that they will generate a reminder, they will have pass it on to call center, they will be calling and all of that they will do. What are we doing in our system? Why we say that our system is different and why our system is being picked up by some of the best customers across the globe and the big banks. So our starting point of our collection system is that starts with analytics.
Okay.
Starting point is analytics. When the data comes in for the collection in the collection system, starts with analytics. There are models which are drawn. There is a champion challenger model which is running, which works on a daily basis to refine the model automatically. Now, what happens is in this, if you look, if the whatever breakdown I have given, if you take the breakdown, there will be say 4 to 5 customers which are actually they are just forgetful. They are in like 0 to 30 days or 0 to 60 days bucket. Somebody like me, which I had, I forget some 2 days, 5 days, one call comes, I pay, right? You know, all of this can be grouped in a different customer segments, and based on that, these strategies can be driven. So that is the heart and the center and the right of the entire platform at which we have defined our this one. Second benefit USP our platform is a zero code platform. So you want to configure a rule, you want to set up a new flow, you want to launch a new campaign, you want to do a distribution, right? Every day the agents who are coming may not be same Today, X number of agents are coming. Tomorrow, Y number of agents are coming. Somebody is taking leave in between. Somebody will go half day leave. The collection manager is in control of just moving the pieces around, and he can do the distribution. It's a real-time dashboarding system, which gives a real-time view of what's happening. Look at what happened on the cash collection side. When the agent is going on the field and doing cash collection, we have a mobile app and everything gets geotagged. There are geofencing that the agent cannot go beyond that geofencing. The whole chart, whole customer, where all addresses he has to go, all of that has been given. Then comes the integration, because like what I was saying, that the bank data is sitting one place, collection data is sitting one place. I have paid. After 3 days, I get a call. Arey, you have not paid, right? There is a seamless integration which happens. The data comes in. It's a real-time integration between the front-end system, which can be any system, to our collection system and going back. So it's a real-time loop which happens. So these are some of the important USPs of our system, which is really making many of the customer excited, opting for our system, so as to say.
One awkward question. So, do you think collection can also be used for cross-sell and upsell kind of thing? Because you're touching the customer at that point of time. The exception was he's not being able to pay for that duration, maybe a limited time activity, and things would come back, right? During COVID, things went down, and then business is back, right? It's possible that many of these entities will do much better now, given the market is booming, right? When everything tanked, right? So, do you think it can also be used as an opportunity for cross-sell and making something different rather than collection is only maro, leo, and niklo? Can it be better than that?
So I think that is where the point of customer empathy comes into picture. And I think the other part of the world, like, Australia, where we have a lot of customers working on our platform, the government itself has drawn law. Like, you can only call X number of times in a week or month to the customer. Unlike here, keep calling, subah se sham tak, diya nahi hai, right? So customer empathy part of it. Second thing is that most of the time it happens that majority of the customers, so there will be, chronic defaulters, leave that 5% out, but their majority of the customer have an intent to pay. They are not taking loan not to pay, but they may have a partial difficulty. There will be a period where they are not able to pay. If that the bank staff having that empathy and talking, saying that, okay, you're not able to pay installment now, can you pay next 60 days in like 4 installment? Chota karke. If you can pay a small amount and pay it in 4 installment, bank is still within that, it has not crossed the window of the asset becoming non-performing, but the customer experience, just elevates. And that customer experience, as you would know, right? When you're in a difficult time, somebody coming and, shaking hand with you, you will always remember that. Good time, shake hands, sab log aake haath mila rahe hain. Bad time is the when. So I think your point is absolutely spot on. I think if that strategy of empathy with, working in that window of 90 days and still keeping the customer going, that will actually, can just completely change the whole game for the banks and fintechs.
Right. This is again coming from my personal side, right? I think collection from customers is also tough, right? Yes. It's no longer about only lending, right? Every business is a lender, right? Largely. And I know that how much pain we have in collecting, because we're always doing business. It's not the customer is defaulter. It's just a difference between maybe the team we are working with and the procurement team and the typical NDA issues and this issue and that issue. Maybe I'm just thinking aloud. Maybe someday you should launch a similar product also for all people like us, MSMEs, and say, boss, this is the profile of your customer. Maybe you can actually underwrite the entire customers in the country, so that you can figure out, let's say rating is less than, maybe the way you have bureau score, maybe you will have epic score saying that this guy has this probability of paying on time, and this is the chance of default for services. So be careful, right? I think we can create a completely different this thing, because the way you have lending, the way you have business, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
finally it's about delays, right? So I mean, yesterday, why I'm coming to it is that yesterday I was looking at my delays. I think number of customers who are not paid beyond say 90 days is not small. I mean, I would just realize that maybe we're just not tracking fast enough. So platform like yours can help. But anyway, I'll not go further in it. This is more on a different need. Or do you see that that is a need in the market, and do you have any thoughts on that?
So I think there is a definitely there is a need in the market. So uh, there is a what do you say? Customer can be reminded a little ahead, and customer can be reminded with a actionable, kind of thing, right? Where just sending reminder may not be very useful. But assume that I have to pay a credit card, and the say my bank just keeps sending SMS that you have to pay, it is due, this, that. And what do I do with the SMS? I have to still go log into a net banking or somewhere for pay, right? If I have a system where when I get a SMS or message or WhatsApp, whatever it is, I just click it, there is an actionable. I just click 3 clicks, I am paid, done.
Right.
Especially in India with the whole UPI evolving, that UPI linking with actionable, linking with analytics, and linking with collection can actually change the whole game. The amount I'm talking about, that 3 lakh crore, can actually get back to banks' books. Imagine where their profitability will be and where their bottom lines will be. So that's where I think the opportunity is sitting for the banks, for the fintechs, and this technology, as you know, right, is an enabler. Once you have a platform, you can just keep going it. So because our platform is a zero code platform, what we are making a model for a bank, maybe in another 15 years we can make a model for MSMEs. We're just visualizing, dragging and dropping, configuring, and just rolling it out.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. So now let's look at adoption in the market, right? Everybody will have a good, bad, or ugly collection system. Something will be there, right? Now, how do you see adoption of your platform, which is so digitally forward in the market, and how do you deploy it? Because everybody will say, "मेरे पास तो already है, right? अच्छा है, बुरा जैसे भी है." How do they deploy? So, is there a modular approach to it? How do you go about deploying your platform in the market, and what do you see as a traction side?
So there is a lot of traction which is happening in collection because the origination space is kind of getting saturated. There are so many players, there's so much traction is happening because everybody's focus, I think last 3-4 years, fintech, banks, everybody was there, digital is that lending का model बनाते हैं, पैसे देते हैं, right? Nobody has bothered to think that collection का model बनाते हैं, collect करते हैं. So and pandemic came and that has changed the whole game. So definitely there is a lot of traction there now in terms of collection. Now, like you're right on point saying that I have already invested or I am already working with a collection agency. Why do I change? What do I get by changing? Can I start something small? Can I do something different? That is where I think our solution fits in, where because it's a modular in nature. It has a multiple modules, agents, it has an in-house, it has out-house, it has a strategy piece. So it is very easy for customers start with the module, bake it in without wasting their investment which have done, and as it progresses, add the more modules. Start with one small and make it bigger. I would like to add one thing here, tell one thing here, Samir. What is good about our platform is that bank can actually run this platform in-house, either on cloud or on premises in-house, and still it can give access to agents outsource agents. Okay, which means from the bank's perspective, if you look, they are not parting away with data. Their data is within sitting with them. Otherwise, what happens normally when it goes to collection agency, the data goes out, right? So data privacy and all these things. The data is still sitting here, but the platform is designed in a way that whether inside collection inside collection agents, which is the bank's employees, versus the outside third-party collectors agents. They all work on the same platform. They all get to see the same dashboard. They all get to have all of that. That I think is also another very important point from the bank's perspective.
लेकिन जब भी कोई चीज समथिंग लुक्स रियली गुड इट इज टिपिकली ईदर टू एक्सपेंसिव और बहुत टाइम लगेगा राइट सो व्हाट योर व्यू ऑन द timing side of it people get scared saying that abhi how do we go ahead and implement something in which even if it is modular how much time so what kind of implementation timelines have you looked at in the market maybe I'm asking both the question महंगा होगा या time लगेगा what are the responses to both
so let me respond to time wala first कि डिप्लॉयमेंट जो है कॉन्फ़िगरेशन बिकॉज आई डोंट राइट कोड क्योंकि जीरो कोड है कॉन्फ़िगरेशन करके स्पेसिफिक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फॉर ए कस्टमर का करके deployment we will have to do some integration obviously right with the upstream systems and downstream system back and payment gateways sara karke it will not take more than 60 days to deploy put it live. So we are working with the second largest collection house in Australia right now. Our platform getting deployed, who themselves have 600 customer intern of them. So we are deploying the entire platform in 4 months.
Okay.
So that's the level of agility which is there. In terms of the cost, I think it can be very much related to the number of agents. If it is an enterprise, then it could be an enterprise cost. So it has a both model. So it is not ki महंगा ही होगा. So you can start small and then you can grow. Like the pricing also could be a very modular in nature. एक मॉड्यूल लगाया या एक 10 एजेंट से चालू किया 50 किया 100 किया so and when it reaches beyond a point उसको enterprise कर दिया so all that possibilities are there so it's not affordable ऐसा नहीं है.
Okay, excellent. And before I close, I think maybe I wanted to get your feedback because typically entrepreneurship is linked in the current time to people under 30 or maybe max 35, 40, all right, max. And both of us are on the wrong side of you have already turned on the wrong side of 50 and I am turning maybe very, very soon, actually in next 1 month, right? So the question I have is that what is the entrepreneurship all about at this age and how do you, any recommendation to anybody starting at this age and how they can go forward and build it up?
So I think this is a question which a lot of people ask me. Like you're saying, no, I am the wrong side of 50s. So when I started, say, 4 years back, a lot of people ask me, when people try to hang up their boots, you are wearing a new boots. What has really made you to go for this? See, I'm a firm believer of one thing. While people say that experience is nothing but warming up a chair, but I think there is another dimension to it is that gray hair have its own value. They don't just come like that, right? And with all these experience you have, I have, if we don't contribute to the younger generation and pass on what our learnings are, I think it will do a very great disservice. I think that was one of the main thing I had in mind, saying that what can I have learned, my knowledge, can I pass it on to the next generation? That is one way. Second thing is that what we have seen in the industry, right? How can we build something which takes away the pain which we have seen, right? Together we have seen there are so many pains. So that is the second thing. Third thing, is there any age limitation? I mean, Bomi Rani has started his film career at 45, right? There are, there are enough KFC where, the guy started at 65 or something like that. So I don't think that age is a challenge. What is really important is that having said all of this and set the context is onto your point, do you still have a passion? Do you still have energy and commitment to work 16 hours a day? Are you ready for a ride and tumble of being entrepreneur? Are you ready to have some sleepless nights? कि अरे कल सुबह क्या होने वाला है, कल तनख्वाह देने के लिए है कि नहीं है? if you are not ready for it, this is not your cup of tea. But if you are ready for it, there's nothing like a roller coaster ride in a theme park. So
No,
that's what I would think.
no, I agree. I think I take your point on the 16 hours, right? So I don't know if I work for 16 hours, but I think the last time, maybe in last 4.5 years, if I were to totally add the number of days where I did not touch work at all, I think it'll be maybe around 15 days. I don't know if 15 is a smart number because yesterday we were preparing for some research report output which has to go out. I think that's how the life is. I mean, a lot of people talk about work-life balance. I think as an entrepreneur, if you say work-life balance, I think that's a vision you should create for your team after maybe 5 to 10 years. Otherwise, for as an entrepreneur, I think there's nothing called work-life balance. If that was the case, I think anybody would have tried to attempt it, right? I can't do it, and I'm not been able to do it, and I'm yet to see an entrepreneur. So technically, when I will respond back to you at, let's say, late in the night, I'm very, very sure you'll respond back because both of us are awake, and typically entrepreneurs are awake all
I
the
know. I know. I know.
But
So
yeah,
I will tell you, in that, awake. So one of the, the prospect that reached out to us, a month and a half back. So one of the founders, he kind of pinged me at 9:30. Is it late for you? I said, क्या लेट है यार, ये तो मतलब 12-1 बजे के पहले तो anyway सोना नहीं होता है. He said, yeah, that's the bonus of being entrepreneur. I said, yes, welcome to the club.
no, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So thanks, Raj. I think I learned a lot of new things, and the fact that collection itself can be done very differently, and analytics can be added to it. I think those frameworks are very, very sort of what do you say, different from what is even today we see on deployments, and only in sort of latest cutting edge fintechs we see that, but we have not seen large scale deployment. I think. I'm sure your intervention in the market will change the market a lot. So thanks for your insight, and thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, Samir. Thanks for your time. And it was a pleasure talking to you as always. And yeah, look forward to, helping the industry in whichever way I can.
Thanks, Raj. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. You too.